Hello everyone. Welcome to my YNR 24 Spoilers Update channel. Daniel and Tessa leave town together, and Phyllis is educated by Citizen Kane. According to Monday, September 29th spoilers on The Young and the Restless, Citizen Kane Ashby twirls his figurative mustache, Tessa Porter confides in Sharon Newman, and Phyllis Summers gets some very important news. First, let's talk about Choo Choo Train Kane. He must come up with a fresh strategy to deal with Billy Abbott after sacking Michael Baldwin. Could it be Phyllis who takes over from his gradually diminishing team? Indeed, perhaps. As an eager beaver, Phyllis should be happy that Michael was fired. Kane provides her with some information during the week of September 29th to October 3rd. Phyllis might contend that she ought to handle Billy herself rather than using a third party. For Kane, however, time is of the essence. He must be vigilant in order to stay ahead of adversaries Victor Newman and Jack Abbott. Kane may choose to pit each of them against the other after learning that Victor and Jack are banding together against him. To keep track with all of these maneuvers, we require a scorecard. Kettle stirred by Kane. Sharon meets with Tessa, her DIL in the interim. At one time, while on a work trip out of town, Mariah Copeland told her wife that she had attempted to kill someone. As a result, Tessa appears ready to inform Sharon of her intention to check the hotel where this reportedly occurred. Tessa is desperate to get her marriage and family back on track, but Sharon will advise caution. In addition, Mariah isn't helping herself as much as she used to. It's interesting to note that Tessa won't be alone herself when she investigates. Daniel is accompanying her. Our mess. What will Sharon think about this? Does her mother have a gut feeling that Daniel would endanger their marriage? Hot as hell the Restless and the Young, according to spoilers. Tessa may or may not agree with Sharon's advice. Tessa seems confined and committed to uncovering the disaster that has completely upended her life, and a significant portion of her adventure will involve Daniel. How do you feel about Tessa and Daniel possibly becoming closer? Make sure to keep up with all of the current events on The Young and the Restless. For the most recent YNR news, spoilers, and updates, return frequently. Sit back and enjoy the greatest soap opera information available online. Fans threaten to boycott because they cannot take any more. For more than 50 years, The Young and the Restless has been broadcast on television. In fact, it has been extended through the 2027 to 2028 season. Fans, however, are threatening to stop watching and turn off the television. Fans are done for this reason. Ratings have been driven by The Young and the Restless. For more than half of its 52-year run, The Young and the Restless has ruled the ratings. The program still commands the highest ratings to this day. For 34 years, YNR has enjoyed the top spot in daytime ratings. Since then, a number of soap operas have been cancelled, but YNR remains at the top. Naturally, The Bold and the Beautiful has also held the number 2 position for a while, though it only went to streaming in September 2022. Days of Our Lives is still airing today. The new soap opera Beyond the Gates and General Hospital complete the 5 shows that are currently running. Earlier this year, Beyond the Gates got underway. The situation is changing. Over the past few years, The Young and the Restless cast has undergone significant change. Billy Flynn is now playing Kane Ashby on Days of Our Lives. Days of Our Lives star Tamara Braun, who portrayed Ava Vitale, will soon make an appearance in a mysterious role. Unfortunately, this causes fans to worry for longtime veterans due to the stringent soap budgets. Because Floyd joined Days of Our Lives as Chad and Chance Chancellor was killed off the show, fans are furious over Flynn's entrance. Former OLTL and GH cast member Roger Howarth is also joining in a mystery role. Fans are undoubtedly curious about the next person. If boycotting is what it takes to be heard, fans are prepared to do so. If the frequent casting changes weren't enough, how about the show's general decline in interest? After 40-plus years, wrote one enthusiast, I believe I'm finished. The only other kind of plot is the absurd. Everyone is a company, casio, whatever money-hungry twat. I no longer enjoy this show as much as I once did. As one fan wrote, I've been watching since it started in 1973. Other viewers talked on how timeless the show is. It has never been worse. It's just watching constant bickering and whining, said another admirer. Even worse, the discussions simply restate the same topics. Nothing exciting, inventive, or fascinating. They brawl and drink in the park or at other eateries. A fourth enthusiast said, I hardly watch because it's a. Are you in agreement or disagreement? For all things Y&R, come here. For news, spoilers, and updates on the young and the restless return frequently. In its lengthy existence, The Young and the Restless has had some of its most surprising episodes. Fans are accustomed to romance, treachery, cunning, and intense family dynamics from decades of soap opera tradition. But the week of September 29th promises a fusion of traditional drama with a contemporary twist. This time, the narrative arcs center on three pivotal people who each symbolize a different aspect of the insanity in Genoa City. Tessa Porter and Daniel going on an unexpected trip together, and Kane Ashby abusing his position of authority while trying to teach Phyllis Summers. What emerges is a labyrinth of intrigue that touches on secrets that challenge marriages, corporate warfare, and family devotion. When you combine that with a growing storm of fan outrage about storyline fatigue and casting changes, you have an intriguing look at both the show and how viewers react when their favorite soap opera deviates too much from its original plot. Let's start with Citizen Kane Ashby, who is committed to reminding everyone in Genoa City that unbridled desire may result in both genius and catastrophe. After years of playing the same role as Daniel Goddard, Kane has changed into a little darker, more cunning version of himself and is now played by Billy Flynn. By depicting him as someone with a metaphorical villain's mustache twirl, who is constantly 3 steps ahead but only one emotional blunder away from collapse, the show purposefully leans into this reinterpretation. Kane's dismissal of Michael Baldwin in recent weeks caused a stir in Genoa City. Kane saw Michael as both replaceable and compromised, despite the fact that he had long been regarded as one of the sharpest legal minds in town. The balance of power was immediately altered by this brutal choice. Without Michael, Kane would have to exploit his current allies or acquire new ones, which is where Phyllis Summers comes in. Phyllis thrives in chaotic situations and is never satisfied to watch from the sidelines. She sees an opening once Michael is fired, and her eager beaver instincts come into full effect. Kane is more aware than most that the redhead has always been both a boon and a bane to those who put their trust in her. However, he views her fire as a possible strength rather than a weakness in the current environment. Phyllis contends that rather than Kane sending in another outsider to settle his conflict with Billy Abbott, she ought to do it herself. Kane gives it some thought, but time is not on his side. Victor Newman and Jack Abbott are circling him, threatening to build a powerful coalition against him. Kane is kept up at night just thinking about Jack and Victor working together, even for a short time. This results in a delightful soap opera dynamic. Kane questions whether he can play Jack and Victor against each other while simultaneously keeping Phyllis under control, while Phyllis insists on being the solution to Kane's issues. The conflict between Kane and Phyllis is about more than simply business. It's about ego. Kane is adamant about not being outwitted, while Phyllis is unwilling to be undervalued. Placing these characters in the same orbit is like throwing a lit match into a room full of gasoline fumes. They both function best when others undervalue them. If Kane allows her the freedom to show off her most cunning side, fans who have been missing the more cunning, dangerous Phyllis might finally get their wish. The true conflict, however, is whether Phyllis is genuinely committed to Kane's goal or if she is merely seeking a means of self-defense and will eventually undermine him. There's no doubt about it. Kane stirring this kettle will undoubtedly cause pyrotechnics, and Phyllis will either burn her hand while attempting to grab the prize or triumph in traditional red fashion. Tessa Porter embarks on a whole different kind of path, while Kane and Phyllis dance on the precipice of collaboration and treachery. Tessa makes the decision to travel out of town to look into concerning situations related to her wife, Mariah Copeland, in what may be one of the most unexpected events of the fall. Mariah and Tessa's marriage has been gradually deteriorating, and Tessa now appears resolved to handle things herself. What's the catalyst? Mariah's admission that she almost killed someone while on a work trip. Their marriage was completely upended by that startling admission. After spending a significant portion of her storyline battling with secrets, guilt, and second chances, Tessa must now choose between believing Mariah's story and doing her own research to find the truth. The drama gets more intense at this point because Tessa is not alone in her objective. Rather, she recruits Daniel Jr., a man with a history full of sins and redemption stories. In Genoa City, their choice to travel together immediately draws criticism. One of the first people to express concern is Sharon Newman, Tessa's confidant and mother-in-law by marriage. According to Sharon's instincts, Daniel might represent a threat, not necessarily in the sense of outright treachery, but rather in the form of unexpected intimacy. The history of soap operas is filled with platonic journeys that end up becoming emotional and occasionally physical entanglements. Will Daniel and Tessa experience this? In her wise comments, Sharon warns Tessa of the dangers, including the possibility of causing tension in her marriage to Mariah as well as the actual investigation. After giving it some thought, Tessa thinks she has to do it. Despite the possibility of misunderstandings, she is determined to mend her relationship. This resolve shows a lot about Tessa's personality. She has changed from the insecure, occasionally dubious young lady who came to Genoa City with secrets to a fiercely devoted spouse who will stop at nothing to keep her marriage intact. Ironically, she can choose a course that jeopardizes her relationship even more because of her commitment. Daniel, on the other hand, has an intriguing part in this storyline. He has been portrayed for years as the tormented artist, the one who fled from accountability only to gradually return to his path of righteousness. Because they have both struggled with art and carried emotional burdens, his relationship with Tessa feels natural. Viewers are left wondering as they go on their journey, is this just a test of loyalty for Tessa and Daniel, or is this the beginning of a new romantic spark? If chemistry develops between them, the situation could lead to its most serious crisis to date. Fans feel strongly about this. Daniel is viewed by some as Tessa's safe confidant who can guide her through the storm. Others fear that the writers are purposefully trying to add needless stress to one of the few solid same-sex marriages on daytime TV with this coupling. The uncertainty of the plot is what makes it work. Although Tessa has a laudable goal, her implementation is dubious. Although Daniel's presence is encouraging, temptation is still present. Although Sharon's warnings may come across as weird, paranoia frequently turns out to be prescient in Genoa City. Tessa's marriage is only one aspect of the plot. Other themes include identity, trust, and the thin line separating self-destruction from love. The larger audience response is layered on top of these character-driven arcs and has developed into a plot point in and of itself. Daytime ratings have long been controlled by Y&R, which has been at the top for decades. However, an increasing number of viewers have recently started to express discontent. Unrest has been exacerbated by storyline fatigue, budgetary restraints, and casting changes. While some people find Billy Flynn's portrayal of Kane fascinating, others who are grieving for Chance Chancellor have objected. The frequent character changes and the focus on corporate turmoil rather than the personal, messy human storylines that first characterize the show alienate longtime viewers. Some fans have publicly threatened to boycott, turning social media into a battlefield. Posts criticize the recurrent motifs of recent shows, constant bickering and whining, as one fan described them, and lament the absence of emotional storytelling. Others lament that the show has lost sight of the unadulterated family and love drama that initially grabbed viewers in favor of focusing too much on CEO titles and business conflicts. New actors like Roger Howarth and Tamara Braun arouse interest, but they also raise concerns that cherished veterans will continue to be marginalized. The internal difficulties of the characters themselves are reflected in this gap between the writer's vision and the viewer's wants. Cain risks upsetting allies in order to gain power. Phyllis may erode trust in the process of her need for approval. Tessa wants to keep her marriage intact, but she runs the danger of raising suspicions by working with Daniel. The soap opera about betrayal, loyalty, and reinvention that grapples with a fan following accusing it of betrayal, loyalty testing, and mistaken reinvention is almost too perfect in its meta-narrative. In the end, the week of September 29th perfectly captures the essence of Y&R. Strained relationships, uncontrollable plans, and the ongoing issue of whether loyalty and love can endure in a world where ambition and temptation never stop. Cain's alliance with Phyllis is bound to blow up in one way or another, and Tessa and Daniel's journey will most likely reveal secrets that reverberate throughout Genoa City. Fans themselves will continue to act as Genoa City's most critical viewers, holding the program responsible despite their inability to turn away. After all, if Y&R's 52-year history has taught us anything, it's that themes of love, loyalty, treachery, and redemption are more than simply plot points. They're the soap opera's lifeblood, drawing viewers in no matter how loudly they vow to quit.